traveling west on an eastern heartache. Lost touch with the reason. Found another trend that I could break to feel more like myself. Saw the water where they drown the sorrows. Pacific lovers in motion.
So today I'm in Shildon and I'm at the Railway Museum here. It's called the Locomotion. You should get yourself here. It looks amazing. We've just got here, so we're just going to explore the place. This is a Deltic. It's from 1955, a nice looking blue train. But there's loads around, so I will show you what's here. Also, the North Shed opened today, brand new. So I'll take you in there and you can have a look inside there as well. So if you want to join me, as always, get your shoes on, get your coat on, let's go. Let's go and let's see some trains. So this one on the right is the Black 5 train. I will be talking a little bit more in depth on that one a little bit later, so I'll just mention little facts on the trains as we're walking around. So this one you can see here, this is a North Eastern Railway M1 class steam locomotive. It was built between 1892 and 1894. During those 2 years only 20 M1s were produced, and this is the last of its kind. The East Coast Joint Stock was a fleet of passenger railway coaches in the UK jointly owned by Great Northern Railway, the Northern Eastern Railway and North British Railway. They were main operators for the East Coast Main Line prior to the creation of London and North Eastern Railway grouping in 1923. This is the Director's Saloon number 63. It's actually a 113 years old carriage that served the GER, LNER and British Rail until it was withdrawn in 1972. It enters into preservation in 1973 where it was moved from various locations before arriving on the Kent and East Sussex Railway in 1989 and now resides here in the Locomotion in Shildon. This here is the Queen Alexandra Saloon number 801. It was designed by J.C. Park and it was built in 1902 at the London and North Western Railway Carriage Works at Wolverton. It includes a day saloon, 2 dressing rooms, a bedroom, lavatory and 2 vestibules at each end. When the carriage was first built there were actually 2 beds, the second being for Queen Alexandra's daughter, the Princess Victoria. After the accession of George V, the carriage, along with its twin King Edward VII saloon, was modernised for the new king and his queen consort Mary. Modern bathroom fittings were added and the decor redesigned to Queen Mary's taste. Beats a Caledonian sleeper, doesn't it? And continue on, this is called the Royal Train and this was really just the dining carriage and it was beautifully designed, upholstered, and obviously you can see all the beautiful detail in this sort of the woodwork and obviously the lighting, the upholstery as I mentioned, and obviously it's going to have the finest of tableware. So here we are, the Black 5, it was number 5000, it's a preserved British steam locomotive. It was designed by William Stanier and it was built in Crewe in March in 1935 and the first of its class, although not the first to be built as number 5020 was built a year prior. Withdrawn in 1967 and was selected to be preserved, being sent to many destinations in the UK but finally making its way to Shildon in 2016. Stephenson's rocket is an early steam locomotive designed and built by Robert Stephenson in 1829. It was built at the 4th Street works of his company in Newcastle on Tyne. It wasn't the first steam locomotive, but it became the template for most steam engines in the next 250 years. This is Sans Peril, is a steam locomotive, and it was built by Timothy Hackworth. It took part in the 1829 Rainhill trials of the Liverpool and Manchester Railway, just like Stephenson's rocket. It is French and it means peerless or without equal. This is a British Class 71. It's an electric locomotive used in the southern region of the British Railways. Unlike southern region electro-diesel locomotives such as the Class 73s and 74s, this could not operate away from an electrified system of 750 DC voltage. They were built in 1958 to 1960 and only 24 of them were produced. Next to this Class 71 is an actual Class 306 British Rail. There was a fleet of electro multiple units EMU trains built and introduced in 1949 and consisted of 92 three-car trains which were used between the Great Eastern Main Line between Shenfield and London Liverpool Street. This one here is called an APTE, which stands for Advanced Passenger Train Experiment. It was a prototype Advanced Passenger Train Tilting Train unit. It was built in Derby in 1970, entered into service in 1972 and actually is powered by a gas turbine and could reach speeds up to 156 miles per hour. This one's also a prototype HST, was built in Crewe in 1972 and it's classed as a Class 252 and can reach speeds of 142.2 miles an hour. Sadly there was scrap between 1990 and 1993, but obviously that one was preserved here. This is a Lev 1 or Leyland Experiment Vehicle. Was a British Rail bus built in Derby in 1975 and they were beginning of the design for the Pacer trains in the 1980s. One of the Pacer trains is actually situated outside the museum, so you might get a glimpse of it later on in the video. This is a two-bill or Southern Rail Class 401. They were built in the 1930s to work long-distance semi-fast services on newly electrified lines from London to Eastbourne, Portsmouth and Reading. Only one has survived into preservation and it's the 2090 here in Shildon, which you can see here. So this one's the Deltic or a DP1. It was built by Dick Kerr & Co Works in Preston. It's a diesel locomotive. It has two engines at 1,650 horsepower and can reach speeds up to 100 miles an hour. 22 were produced and only 6 of them remain. So I'm in the Great Hall here just looking at all the trains. I've seen a few so far. The Deltic, which was from 1955, and quite a few others, the HSTs and things like that. So I'm just going to go and check some other ones out. Some steam trains. I think there's a black number 5 just over to the side, and I think Stephenson's rocket as well. So I'm going to go and check that out. So if you want to see all that, stay tuned. But so far I think The one that stands out for me has to be the Deltic, as I say, from 1955. There's another one just over the way called the Black 5, a steam train which is nice and shiny, and yeah, I think that's a close second for me so far. But there's some other ones over here, some HSTs and sort of other ones, and yeah, check them out. Let's go and have a look. This here is the Type 4 D200. It's a 2,000 horsepower diesel and electric locomotive built by English Electric in 1958. They were the most successful diesel classes, just like the D8000 and D5500, between March 1958 and September 1962. 200 Class 40s were built in two places, Vulcan Foundry and Robert Stephenson and Hawthorne at Darlington, both part of the English Electric Company. The maglev railway car was built in 1984 and ran on electromagnetics rather than wheels. It was used between Birmingham International Airport, Birmingham Station and the Exhibition Centre, a distance of 600 metres. It operated between 1984 and 1995, but it was replaced with a system that was easier to maintain. The Port Carlisle Dandy car is a horse-drawn rail coach built by the North British Rail in 1856, which ran alongside the train track. Passengers could sit inside the car or on the benches on the side of the car. The Dandy car featured in the Darlington exhibition in 1925 as part of the centenary celebrations of the world's first railway there in Darlington. It now resides here in Shildon. This is the NSR battery electric locomotive number 1. It was built in the Midlands Railway in Derby in 1913 for shunting at popular docks. It worked at Bolton Oakermore Works from 1917 to 1963. So here we are looking at some of the older trains. These are from like sort of 1956 and back on, but still impressive. The Waterloo and City train here from 1898. And if you need to get a horse somewhere and it's like 1845 sort of time and you can't think of how to get a horse from A to B, you can do it like this. Stick it in a diddy cart. This is called a Hardwick, 1873. Let's go and check some more out, shall we? The Royal Mail carriage was built in 1838. This version is a replica built 100 years later in 1938. They were a travelling post office and vastly improved the efficiency of mail distribution. This replica was built by Wolverton Carriage and Wagon Works using drawings and records from the post office. The fireless steam locomotive Imperial was built by Andrew Barclay and Sons in Kilmarnock in 1956. The boiler was a large pressure vessel which needed to be replenished with steam at intervals. These were used in places like mines and chemical factories as it was safer than fire-driven locomotives. This one's Sans Pareil, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And we saw this before, the steam locomotive. This one is actually a replica of that particular locomotive, and the wheels were actually produced and crafted by a gentleman that actually works at Shildon Locomotion itself. I had the pleasure of speaking with him earlier. This is the Waterloo and City locomotive number 75S. The 75S was built by Siemens Brothers of London in 1898 and it was withdrawn in May of 1968. The 75S was an electric locomotive and would be used to drag coal trucks to Waterloo Line power station during the night and shunting passenger stock during the day. So this is a composite number 59 rail carriage. It was built in 1847 by Tweeddale and Barton in Carlisle, and it cost £245 to make. It accompanied first and third class passengers and also had room for someone on the roof, and it remained in service until 1872. Hardwick is a steam locomotive and tender. It was designed by F.W. Webb and it was built in Crewe in 1873. It was entered into a race by Anglo-Scottish firms to go from London to Aberdeen. Hardwick set a record by running at 67 miles an hour over 141 miles. Sadly, in October 1895, it was involved in a collision near Preston where a freight train hit the express passenger train it was hauling. It was withdrawn from service in 1932. In the distance there you can see Winston Churchill train. We'll be walking around that side in a moment and I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a second. Winston Churchill is a Southern Railway Battle of Britain class steam locomotive designed by the railway's chief mechanical engineer Oliver Bulleid, hope I'm pronounced that right. It was built in Brighton in 1945. It's one of 110 locomotives built between 1945 and 1951. After Winston Churchill's state funeral on the 30th of January 1965, the locomotive hauled the funeral train. Thousands lined the trackside to watch as the train passed. This is a horse-drawn fire engine for extinguishing fires, obviously. It was built by Merryweather and Sons in 1880 for Gateshead Council. It has the first fire pump powered by a petrol engine, delivering 250 gallons of water per minute. This is Horsebox BR British Rail S96369. This is a British Rail four-wheeled horsebox built in Earlstown in 1957. The sign states 1936, but I think it's referring to the brown one next to it, this one here. If you know any different, let us know in the comments. But it's time to go outside and see something different. So we're about to go on a replica of Stephenson's rocket from the 1800s. So if you want to check that out and see me going along on that, check it out now. Currently on a replica of the Stephenson's rocket. We're just going to go up and down this little track, so check it out. Whoa.
Yeah, it's just because I'm looking down. Oh, he's gone.
So that was the main area, the locomotion just here. I think it was an amazing place, definitely worth a visit, so come and check it out. It's free to get in, so you can't fall wrong with that. And as you can see, the size of the place is just loads to see, and lots of the history of the place and all the different trains that have been around. And over there is a little Stephenson's rocket replica, which you've seen already. But it's about, I think it was either £4. I think it was £4 for adults, and I think it's free for kids under 5. But yeah, you can ride that, and it goes up and down that little pathway. But yeah, there's a cafe inside the main building, and it's all on one level, so it's wheelchair friendly. And there's lots of toilets in there, I think both disabled either side. But yeah, there's loads to see in there. As I say, the kids will love going on that. And there's sort of old trains here. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, give us a thumbs up, give us a like, and subscribe, support the channel, and comment, let us know what you thought was the best in there, what your favourite train was. And on Wednesday I'll be doing another video where I'll be doing a video over here, the new hall. It opened today, and there's loads of trains, snowplows and all sorts in there, and it's some amazing trains in there, so don't forget to check that out on Wednesday. But as always, thanks for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.